I see it.
Yeah. So
There,
we're live.
we're live. Absolutely.
So I'm Ed Kaminsky with SportStar Relocation, and we run a national relocation company for athletes and helping them when they're drafted, traded, become free agents, and having really great people on the ground wherever these players are going is critical. That understand a lot of the nuances for players when they move. Yeah, they all make a lot of money, or most of them do, and they think they're all smiles. But trust me, when you rip them out of one city and put them in another,
Mhm.
and then they have to tell their wives and their kids that they got to leave all their friends. It's not all roses, so it can be challenging. And so in Indianapolis, we have the great Regina, who's been really well connected within the sports community for a really long time. We've known each other for a long time. And so, um, go ahead and just give a brief introduction of yourself, Regina, and your company, and let's just start with that.
Okay. Regina Jones. I'm here in Indianapolis, Indiana. I've been doing residential real estate for 22 years. This is my 22nd year. I started in real estate back in 2000 is when I first began having the interest. At that time, I danced for the Indiana Pacers. So when we were in the finals with the Lakers, I literally was in the tunnel studying real estate. And when a song would come on, I would shut my book and run out on the court, do my dance, do what I was there to do. So it was really an intense time. It was a great time. Prior to that, I cheered 4 years for the Indianapolis Colts. My third year in the season, I got to attend Pro Bowl in Hawaii as the representative for the Colts. So that was really exciting. But while I was a pacemate and I was getting that bug with the Indiana Pacers when I was dancing, it just had a really great feel for me, real estate. I had really great connections at both organizations. I live on the west side, so my office is literally down the street from the Colts complex. And I'm about 15-minute ride from Gamebridge Field House where the Pacers play. So I love Indianapolis. I'm from Indianapolis, and I enjoy what I do. I enjoy real estate.
That's great. I have to ask you a question. When you were there, right? You're feeling the energy of two great pro teams, right? Especially that game you just mentioned. Um, what could you share about some of the experiences you had being in that environment, whether it was getting to feel the energy, see the players perform, chat with players or coaches? What did you learn about pro sports being around it as long as you were?
The thing I learned about pro sports really was how they give back. I mean, that was the biggest thing, that my big takeaway when I left and started real estate full time, when I left the NBA and I left the NFL. The thing I took away was the camaraderie, how they give back to our community. I mean, here in Indianapolis, we have the Peyton Manning Children's Hospital. My dad, it's funny, when I was younger, when I was in high school, my dad would want to come to, and of course I, danced and cheered and all that in high school. My dad would say, "Hey, I'm coming to the game." It's Jeff George. For anybody who's like older than 50, you might know the name Jeff George. I went to high school with Jeff. So my dad's like, is Jeff George playing? I was like, "Yeah, Dad, he's playing." But my dad's always loved sports, and he loved when I was involved with both teams. But the thing that really touched me is with the Pacers during Thanksgiving, we would go down to Wheeler Mission. It's a mission here in central Indiana, and we would serve Thanksgiving dinner. The Pacemates, the players, back then, Reggie Miller, some of those names, Mark Jackson. And we would serve dinner to those in need, to the homeless. And they did a little spot on the local news about that. And I was dishing out dinner. And my dad had called me and he said, I'm always proud of the things that you do. Absolutely. He said, but to see you serving dinner to those in need was the best thing ever. And he said, and I'm more proud of you for that than probably anything that you could do. So just paying attention to how both organizations, the Pacers and the Colts, how they give back to their community has always inspired me. With the Pacers organization, with the NBA, not that you don't feel like family at the Colts complex, because you absolutely do. Jim Irsay is amazing. But at the Pacers, because it's a smaller team, you feel that connection greater because the team is smaller. And the seasons are different, right? Colts, you have 10 or 11 home games. Pacers, I lived back then. It was called Conseco Fieldhouse. I lived there with the NBA, because you had 3 times a week you had practice, and you had 3 games a week or whatever, and that was really intense. And especially in the NBA, if you went on to the finals, because it made your season so long, right? So you were living it. But I think that's the thing that has always inspired me the most about professional athletes, is their compassion, and they're willing to not give 100% on the field, but give 100% to their community. So
well, yeah, good for you for picking that up and giving back yourself and going out there and supporting. It's got to be heartwarming for you to be able to experience things like that, for sure. Bringing it back around on the real estate side, right? Why don't you just, briefly describe, you're coming to Indianapolis, you just got, brought on to the Pacers team or the Colts, and, just give us a brief description of the greater area that you service.
Well, like I said, I'm on the northwest side of Indianapolis, so I'm just down from the Colts complex. Whenever I have a player come into Indy, whether they're the Colts or the Pacers or Indianapolis Indians, wherever they're coming to, a lot of the questions that I ask are you trying to be near where you're going to be practicing? Are you trying to be on the northwest side? What does that look like to you? What is important to you? I would say a lot of times things that are important are really, where's the airport and what's the quickest route to the airport. So I really get into those logistics. If they're bringing family, it's another kind of mixture in there, because now we're talking about school systems and what are the schools that they're wanting to attend. I service Northwest and the north side of Indianapolis, Zionsville, Carmel, Indiana, Fishers, Indiana. When you get over to Fishers, you get a little bit farther east. That's northeast of Indianapolis. And so it is a little bit harder trek when you're getting to that airport, to the Indianapolis airport, because that's southwest.
Well, you brought up schools.
Mm-hmm.
You brought up schools, and I'm sure most parents are hopeful that kids get a great education and have good schools to pick from. Do you drive location for school based on schools for your clients? Is there certain communities that have better schools than others? And, what's the school landscape look like?
Sure. Indianapolis schools all around, great school system. Carmel, like I said, Zionsville. A lot of our private schools are really wonderful schools. Again, it depends. I usually will speak to the wife. If they are married, I will speak to the wife and try to understand what they're looking for in education. You have some players that want diversity. Diversity is huge to them. So we do have great schools that are diverse, or if their kids are also athletes. Brownsburg, Indiana, which is suburbs west of Indianapolis, has a great sports program over there. Carmel does. My old high school, Warren Central, amazing, right, program. So it's really looking into what are they wanting, right? What are they looking for in a school? And then I'm able to really facilitate that. And, the information. And not only that, but you always have to remember, when somebody is coming here from somewhere else, somebody on the team or a coach or an agent or somebody has said, oh, you want to live in bleep, or you want to, your kid wants to go to this school. So it's, which is great that they get referrals and some input from other people, but I try to give them the statistics, show them where the school's located, do a visit with the school, those kind of things. So they really get an understanding, because even if somebody says, oh, they need to live here, a lot of times when they get here, they're like, I don't want to live there. I kind of like this. I like this location better. And I do a lot of information as far as driving and knowing how long it's going to take you to get from your doorstep to the Colts complex, to get to your doorstep down to Gamebridge downtown. So
that's got to be a great help for them for sure.
Yeah.
Now, what about prices? What would you say is the median price in your marketplace, and what does that range look like of values that you have?
Well, Ed, Indianapolis is affordable. We always have been. We always will be. The last 3 years, as it was everywhere, everything was a little nutty with the lack of inventory. Supply and demand really kind of shot everything through the roof. But right now, in the markets that I service, median sales price is about $398. Average days on the market, median days on the market, I mean, is 12 days still, which is really wonderful.
$398, that's a price of a car in LA, right?
I said we're affordable, right? Like,
yeah.
Taxes are so great here too. Property tax so low compared to New Jersey, or, I have family in Jersey, and taxes.
So if you want to spend $1 million or $2 million, is there inventory in that range? It's bigger, beautiful estates, or
Oh yeah, absolutely. But you're just going to get a lot of bang for your buck. Absolutely here. Gated community, when you're talking about homes that are $1 million, $2 million, nice gated community, 12,000 square feet, 5 cars.
Let's say someone decides to just treat themselves. They're coming out of a big market like a New York or LA, and spending $1.5 million sounds like a bargain, but they get this monster house. How challenging is it to sell if they get traded?
That can be a challenge anytime you're in that price point in central Indiana, but there's always a market for it. The average days on the market might take a little bit longer, but the thing is when they're coming in, it's to really educate them on what they're purchasing, on what that resale looks like. I think you always have to remember, when you have a buyer, you're not just, throwing the money out there and buying a house. You're really looking into the neighborhood which they're buying. What does a real resale look like in that neighborhood? And what price are you paying? And when we go to sell it in a year or 6 months or 2 years, what does that look like in the grand scheme? Now, clearly, I don't have a crystal ball. But again, I've been in real estate 22 years here in central Indiana, so I know the pace of it, and I can really be able to speak truth to what it's going to take when the time comes that they're going to move, because more than likely they're going to move.
Great. So as they're making this decision to make this purchase in different neighborhoods, what kind of advice are you giving them if they're on a shorter term contract, whether they should buy or lease, and how do you kind of toe that line for them?
I mean, I'm just honest. Kathy Jordan, who used to be VP of Player Relations with the Pacers, she did a really nice recommendation or testimonial for me that I really am here to service the client. No matter if they're buying $1 million home, leasing, buying a $200,000 home, I'm here to really understand their needs, what the plan looks like for them, because they're all different, and just try to educate them on the best way. And sometimes the best way is to do a lease, absolutely, and to do a short lease, not even a long lease. I just worked with Dallas Flowers, cornerback for the Colts, just a few months ago, and got him a lease, right? Because that was best for him. It's close to the Colts complex for him, easy to get to, and was able to negotiate that a good lease for him, so that if he does stay, he can extend it, but he's not tied to it and he's not tethered to it. It was something that was affordable for him and the right size for him, and fit all of his needs and what he was looking for in a place to live while he's here in Indianapolis.
That's great. Now, how about the investment market? How is that doing? Does that come up as maybe a goal for some of your clients, whether they're athletes or not? And how is Indianapolis as a market to invest in?
It's funny, because whenever I do training, real estate training, and I'm at NAR or, out and about in the real estate industry, a lot of people, especially in California, right? They're like, buy in Indiana, right? Buy in Indiana for those investment. So there was a huge, during the last 3 years, a lot of investors from other states coming here in Indiana and buying up properties. Indiana is a great market for investments. Again, you just have to be, I think people have to be careful with that. Depends on what they're investing. Are they trying to really have them for rentals as long-term, or are they trying to flip them? Right. And I think a lot of the people coming from the outside, coming in from outside other states, California and things like that, you just have to kind of be honest with them and give them a whole like breakdown of what they've got going on, because I think they hear, oh, I can buy it for $100,000 in Indy and, fix it up in a matter of months, and then I'm going to flip it for 400. And Right. It just really depends on the area. So when people come to Indy with that in mind, because I think they hear it's a gold mine here, right? In the Midwest, that a lot of them don't do their homework before they get here. So I try to educate the ones that come to me. I try to educate them so they can understand really what are you going to get out of that house, and what's what's your goal. But it's great. Indiana is a great place to buy investments. Yes. So the answer is yes, it's a good place for sure.
Well, it seems like it's a low barrier to entry, right? Because of the price point. So that opportunity can happen. Sure. Great place to get an education on how to manage property or, deal with tenants, all those things, I would imagine.
That's right. That's right. So, and if they're out of state, I do encourage property management. I do some of that, property managing. But if they're local, I try to ask them to kind of stay involved a little bit too, so they understand what's going on with their investments.
Anything else you'd like to share about your marketplace or what you're doing out there?
In our marketplace out here, I mean, there's some really great, when you talk about if you had a lot of money to spend, where would you live? There's a lot of great markets, a lot of great sub-markets here in Indianapolis, from Zionsville, again, Carmel, downtown Indy is amazing. So when we had the Super Bowl here, I think we lucked out, because Super Bowl in Indiana in February can be mighty cold. Absolutely. You never know what you're going to get. But Indianapolis was amazing at that Super Bowl that we had, where people love the walkability that we have downtown. So you can walk to where the Indianapolis Indians play. You can walk to where, the Fever and the Pacers play and the Colts play. It's all walkability. It's accessible. Downtown shopping, downtown living. So Indianapolis has a lot to offer here in our beautiful city. So I would say that. When it comes to my clients, especially my athletes in particular, because of their schedules are so crazy and they have to be at practice and they have all this stuff going on, and their families are relocating, like you expressed at the very beginning of this interview. I try to be the best resource I can for all things, for getting their utilities turned on, for getting things set up. Ron Artest, back in the day, it was his son's birthday. So I threw together a birthday party really quickly, because they were so upset that they were transitioning and they didn't want him to not be able to celebrate. So I put that together. And lastly, I work with a great organizer out of Pennsylvania. The company is called Your Task, Our Time. She deals with celebrities and athletes. The lady that owns that company, Darla Pompilio, I recruit her a lot to come in, and she helps them pack and unpack and organize and all of that. When they're running crazy and their wife is trying to hurry up and play catch up and get to where they're going, she really flies anywhere in the country for the clients, and she will pack them up, get them moved, and even come to Indy and unpack them and get them situated in their new surroundings. So try to give concierge service above and beyond, because I understand how crazy it can be for my clients, for some of my clients, especially the athletes. Absolutely.
So I'm sure everybody wants to know any crazy or wild stories you had to experience. It's safe to share.
Do I have any crazy or wild experience? Well, I can't. Well, I can tell you. I won't say who it was, but I did have an athlete ask me what a cul-de-sac was.
Okay.
And I thought that that was kind of cute. He's like, "Hey, I have a question." I said, "Sure. What's your question?" He goes, "What's a cul-de-sac?" I was like,
Yeah,
"It's a
that's a
court.
good one. Good.
It's a court." And then I think that's I don't know that's kind of the most interesting one. Yeah, most. Oh, and one more. When I and this again is going back a long while, but when Ron Artest was my client when he was here in Indy, he allowed me to auction him off for a charity benefit for the homeless.
Oh,
And basically, what he and his wife did was they cooked dinner. Whoever won the bid, a group of 10, I think it was, you could have you and 9 of your friends.
is he a good cook?
And he came to their house and he cooked. He cooked salmon and greens, collard greens, best greens ever.
Yeah.
And so that was very fun. And again, back to charity, right?
Yeah.
And so
Giving back.
that was a really a great time, but never a dull moment. Absolutely, I enjoy the energy of the athletes, and most of all, I enjoy getting to help them with the most important investment, whether it's it's a place you call home, whether you're renting it or buying it. It's important to you, and you want your family to feel good while you're here in town. So that's the
Terrific.
priority.
Well, thanks for sharing. It's great to get to know a little bit more about you and, of course, your great city. I'd take you out with a cheer, but I'm not sure how to do that. Maybe you can do that. No?
That's okay. That's
Okay,
okay.
good. So, Regina, thanks for sharing, and we really appreciate your time today. And if someone wants to reach out to you directly, what's the best way to do that?
Best way is to call me or text me 317-946-2757. And Ed, I enjoy being I've always appreciated being part of the SportStar team, and I appreciate you guys.
Well,
Absolutely.
thank you. Yeah, we want to be a great help to anybody out there that's moving around the nation, no matter what city you're in. A lot of people ask, "Did you guys just handle the big sports cities?" And the truth is, we get a lot of players that are asking for help from their hometowns and things like that. We actually are on the streets in almost every single town you can imagine. We have connections there. So, whatever you need, reach out to us at any time. We appreciate you watching. Have a great day. Thanks, Regina.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.